Okay, I forgot there was another personal hygiene item that I wanted to make sure I kind of covered here. So I've got my bath towel. I've got a hand towel down below. And so I used, after the first week or two of bathing myself, I moved to just a single bath towel to both of these towels. And the reason for that is when I'm in the shower and I'm worried about balance, drying your hair and your face, that is where you're going to cover your eyes. And I was worried about balance. I didn't want to take any chances with slipping. So I started using the hand towel for drying my face off and drying my hair. So much more easy to maneuver and control. This larger towel can become unwieldy, and I didn't want to risk the fall. So I started using 2 towels, and now 2 months in, I'm still using 2 towels. But the one thing I wanted to show you here is this one drove me crazy for a day or two. I didn't give it much thought. Again, you don't know what you're going to be up against until you're actually going through it. So putting the towel back up. So you take the towel off, right? You take a shower, you get nice and clean. And then I kept trying to put the towel back up by just throwing it up. And with one hand, and I'm in my sling, I also wanted to make sure that I wasn't getting frustrated just trying to put a towel back up. So if you kind of go through the motion of slinging the towel kind of parallel to the wall, I just sling it behind it. And then with one hand, I just go ahead and I spread it out so that it can dry off. And again, that was a big boon for me because I was getting frustrated. Just got out, the shower felt good. I hadn't had showers in a while. And I couldn't put the towel on the towel rack. So it was just driving me crazy. And I just thought that maybe this would be something that if you just kind of take the towel and then you sling it parallel to the towel bar on the wall, that it actually is a lot easier. And I have probably not missed, but maybe once or twice in almost 2 months of putting the towel on, of putting the towel back on the very first time that I tried this. So don't know if this will help you or not. Again, these are not lifesavers, but they are those kinds of tips that I have learned to help me make sure that I could get through the day without without any more frustration than you're already going to be feeling. So hopefully that helps. And for pain management beyond the ibuprofen and the acetaminophen that I took for the couple of weeks after surgery, mostly, not so much now, I have this shoulder pack that I bought from Amazon, about $30, and it's icing and heating. Put in the microwave for heating, and I did use it sometimes for that, mostly for icing. You just put it in the fridge, and then you just kind of put the straps around, which did not work too well for me. I'm not being compensated on this. This is not a product endorsement or anything like that. I don't have enough views or anything to worry about compensation, but there's kind of pockets of gel here that I found kind of clumped up, but it still did its job, kept cool for the 20 to, I was getting to 30 minutes of icing when I needed it and after PT exercises. Next, I have another ice/heating pack that my son gave to me. And this one actually ended up being the one that I went to on a regular basis. This was much smoother across the shoulder, and it was easier for me to kind of put a towel on top of it, and I could use that to press down against my shoulder to make sure I had good, consistent contact. You can see some of the frosting on this. I already pulled this out of the freezer just a couple of minutes ago. So these are the 2 that I use for icing, specific for broader areas. And then you're wondering what this little guy is down here. This is kind of a godsend. We use these, my wife puts them in for travel packs when we go on road trips or vacations. We used to use these for our boys' soccer games, and they're a perfect fit. So if I were to bring this up and kind of put this under my arm, and then I would use a towel to hold that and keep the condensation at a minimum from getting on my shirt. This would help with my bicep tenodesis, so the swelling on my bicep, as well as the back of my tricep and bicep, as well as my lat. And this is just a perfect size. Again, anywhere from say 20 to 30 minutes is what I did. And this works wonders. So again, pain management beyond any kind of the medications that you're on or any kind of prescriptions. The icing I did religiously, multiple times a day for the first 3-4 weeks. Not so much anymore these days, just as I need it. So as of right now, I only use this maybe when I come home from PT, or like earlier this week when I had my bad day at PT. I ice for a little bit, and it does take away the pain and discomfort. So again, don't know if this is something that can help you, but it does help me, and I wanted to make sure I shared that with you. This is how I put my socks on. I know that this might not be germane for every situation out there. It's wintertime here, so I wear a lot of socks. If it's warm weather when you have your procedure and your rehab from surgery, then maybe socks is not something you even have to worry about. Unfortunately, it's chilly here, so I actually have to use socks to stay warm. This is something that I actually worked on the 4 to 5 weeks pre-op. So I took advantage of the time to figure out how to put these socks on, at least somewhat efficiently, so I wasn't getting frustrated with them. So I know I have some socks here. They have logos on them, which actually help for orientation. Sometimes if you have sock material that's grippy, I know that as you pull them up one-handed, they can sometimes get twisted around your foot and your ankle, and then trying to get them so they're at least comfortable on your foot, you have to kind of turn them one way or the other. With these logos, it at least gives me some kind of orientation while I'm putting these on. So let me see if I can kind of hold the camera with one hand and put these on. And so what I try to do is I will take my 2 smaller fingers, so my ring finger and pinky on one side, put my thumb in the other, and then I just kind of stretch them wide to get over the front part of my foot, right? So from there, I just kind of pull the sock up, and again, orientation on the bottom portion, the toe portion of the sock, so I can at least tell if I've got the right side up. And then I just continue feeding it up the leg until I kind of smooth out and then put my foot into my slippers, which I use pretty much exclusively during the winter time here while I'm at home. So that's kind of how I put the socks on. At least it's at a point now where I do this pretty naturally. I've got some muscle memory and habit and practice. So small thing, not life-changing, but hopefully it's frustration reduction kind of activity, and hopefully this helps. So I went ahead and put the other sock on, and I forgot to mention that these pants that I'm wearing are basically pajamas, long leg pajamas or lounge pants, whatever description works. But I made sure to use as much clothing as possible without buttons or zippers. And so these are elastic band waistbands, and I didn't have to worry about zippers and buttons when I was basically at one hand, and I didn't want to have to bother my wife. And then she went back to work, and so she wasn't here anyway. So I just had rarely ever worn these over the last number of years. I already had these. I received them as Christmas gifts and so forth. And glad I had them. So I've got 6-7 pairs of these, and I just rotate through them. I also have a number of oversized t-shirts that I've collected over the years. And those came in handy because trying to get dressed one-handed, and in the first couple of weeks especially, trying to get the sleeve on your surgical arm, I put that on first, and then I would feed my other good arm through the other side, and then my head through the neckline, and they would go on pretty straightforward that way. But if you have tighter shirts, it can be much more challenging because you don't have as much wiggle room putting those on. So And again, no, this is not for everybody. This is only my perspective, what I wear, my situation, depending on your clothing and your surgical procedure and how much mobility you have. Whether you're male, female, the type of clothing you have, extra pieces of clothing that one person might use more than another can make some of these things challenging. But again, I just wanted to make sure that I kind of mentioned the fact that I tried to use loose fit clothing as much as possible, so that this all would just day-to-day tasks would be just that much easier to have to deal with. A few final thoughts as far as taking advantage of the time prior to your surgery, and then some things to hopefully make your life a little bit easier post-op. Did not mention, for example, the toothpaste. Little video short that I had shot. When I put the cap back on, I usually just kind of screw it enough to make it not even really snug, just enough to make sure that it's not going to get dried out or anything like that. But I wanted to make sure the next time I use it, it was easy enough to unscrew. So things like my toothpaste, peanut butter jar, jelly, anything else that maybe I might be into frequently for eating or other hygiene or anything around the house. I just tried to put the cap or the lid or the top back on enough to at least hold it in place, but also easy enough for me with a single hand still in the sling at that time to unscrew it or take it off. Again, just trying to lower that frustration level. So that was something I neglected to mention with respect to the toothpaste specifically. In addition to that, if you are afforded time pre-op before your procedure, I used some of that time to do some yard work, do some errand running. So things like I got a haircut a couple of days beforehand. Now, it's not like I've got a lot of hair to worry about, but I didn't want to have to get the procedure done and then not know when I'd be able to get back out and get around. So I wanted to make sure that I took care of something like that a few days before the operation. Some other things like clipping my fingernails and toenails, something you wouldn't normally think about, or at least I didn't. But I did that a couple of days before because I didn't know when I would get the manual dexterity back into my surgical arm side hand. Obviously, I could use my good arm hand, but to be able to use both hands if you have to reach to one side or the other. So I did some of that a couple of days before the procedure. And then I didn't have to worry about it for a number of weeks post-op, right? So I did forget something as far as the yard work goes, and my kids live locally, so was able to have them come over here and actually take care of some of the yard work that I had forgotten about. And you might be thinking, well, maybe it doesn't matter, it'll grow and you'll take care of it when you hopefully heal up. Well, I didn't know when I'd be able to use the mower again or, the weed whacker. And so, they were good enough about coming over and taking care of some of the things that if I looked outside, my personality is such that I'm going to go, oh, why didn't I take care of that? And then I have to wait, that much longer when springtime rolls around, and I didn't want the yard to get, to be unwieldy. So had that taken care of as well. So those are just a few of the things that I wanted to make sure I kind of wrapped up with. So if you're afforded the time prior to, going through some of the motions of acting like you are post-op, right, wearing your sling, all sounds like common sense. But I know when you're worried about going in for, a fairly substantial operation and procedure, maybe you're forgetful, or you have a lot of distractions. You're trying to wrap up things at work if you're still working, if you're going to school, whatever your situation might be. So I didn't cover all bases for myself specifically, and I didn't cover everything that I have done for my situation. But these were some of the kind of low-hanging fruit of some tasks, some day-to-day routine that I wanted to make sure that I lowered my possible frustration level. And doing things like this ahead of time allowed me to prepare better. And again, that transition from pre-op to post-op went fairly smoothly for me. I'm glad I took advantage of the time. As I've said before, I know not everybody is going to be that fortunate, right? Sometimes you're just going to have a catastrophic injury, and you have to address it immediately. So for those, I know that it's a little bit more challenging, could be quite a bit more challenging for you to try to deal with post-op day-to-day activities and making sure that your life and quality of life is at a good enough level so that you can just concentrate on your healing. Focus on, getting to PT to make sure that that part of the process is going to move smoothly for you. So again, just a couple of things I wanted to make sure that I pointed out. And again, there's others. And if you all have any ideas and things that you thought about that, you want to add to the comments, either for myself, again, always in learning mode, but for anyone else that maybe comes across these videos that they could take advantage of. So again, hope you all are doing well. Things are going well on this end. Just wanted to make sure I covered a couple of these loose ends. So take care.